crime scene investigations. We've all heard of it. Police speeding to the scene of murder, collecting blood samples and tucking it into little plastic bags, sending it to the labs for analysis. You know, the kind of stuff you'd see on CSI Miami. But what isn't as well known, mostly thanks to those shows, is the reality behind crime scene investigation and who does it. I could go on about the inaccuracies of shows like CSI for ages, talking about how it's paper bags, not plastic, and how their timeline is all off. But that's not what my assignment is on today, so that can be a future video. Today I'm here to talk about who investigates crime scenes, specifically civilian crime scene investigators. So let's get into it. So as a quick explanation to make sure we're all on the same page here, what is a crime scene investigator and what do they do? Crime scene investigators are responsible for the processing of a crime scene, as well as collecting and preserving evidence. The process begins with crime scene sketches, which allow for measurements to be made and noted accurately and give a sense of the space. Photographs are taken to preserve the location and placement of evidence before collection, so that way they know where it is for future reference. Evidence is then collected according to procedure and preserved for future review and testing. CSI choose whether to send evidence to labs and what to have tested with it before sending it to professionals in an applicable field. They sometimes work alongside these professionals to analyze evidence, but not always. CSI are also responsible for testifying of the process of evidence collection and chain of custody in trial, as well as presenting their findings and expert opinion of said evidence to the jury. So what is the difference between a sworn CSI and a civilian CSI? Civilian CSI are just that, civilians, and thus have the rights of one. Civilian CSI, unlike their sworn counterparts, do not have authority to arrest. Similarly, they are also not authorized to carry firearms in their duties. The only armed individuals present in the field are official officers. Officers are the ones supposed to be resolving conflict, and officers handle the people who have a violent history or a history of mental health issues, since they are trained for aggression and civilians aren't. Civilian CSI Shannon O'Leary says that she will assist sworn patrol officers with calls for service and screens information before heading to calls. She says, "We want to see if we had any kind of ties with them in the past, if they have any kind of violent tendencies in the past or mental health issues. And if we see stuff like that, then we will say, hey, I'm not going to take that call," and I let the officer take it. Civilian CSI don't drive patrol cars, since they are not patrol officers, rather driving unmarked cars that do not alert those around them to the presence of police. This quieter approach helps as it keeps a low profile and isn't as intimidating for people to interact with. Civilian CSI also do not require the rigorous training that sworn officers do, and thus their training can be more specialized and intensive in the field they work in. Civilian CSI can focus on investigative technique and evidence procedure rather than being caught up in firearm skills and self-defense. Now you might be thinking, dude, that's so much to keep track of. Why would anyone want to deal with the differences? Let's weigh some pros and cons. Firstly, there are factors in hiring civilian CSI that benefit the department. Police officers are busy people. Tons of responsibilities fall onto police, from criminal investigation and arrests to welfare checks and domestic disputes. Sworn officers are pulled in a dozen different directions in a given day. It's not unimaginable for them to go from a call regarding something simple like truancy to something major like homicide in the same shift. Civilian CSI takes a bit of the load, allowing them to take over a criminal investigation while officers work on other tasks. Hiring civilian CSI also means hiring people who want to investigate crimes and have a passion for the field. Sam Penica, director of the Raleigh-Wake County Bureau of Identification, in 2009, said, "We needed applicants with a science background, with a passion for and a desire to do crime scene work. We were getting a lot of applicants chasing a dollar because our pay is good, but we needed more highly trained and educated applicants with training in forensic science." Civilian CSI is a position someone chooses, so it's something they would have to want to do to get very far. Hiring is a process, so by opening the field to people who are passionate for solving crime through science but don't want the badge and gun, It broadens the hiring pool available. Law enforcement has struggled with numbers in recent years as officers retire and departments aren't able to hire enough to replace them. Hiring civilians for criminal crime scene investigation allows for people with that passion to apply without committing to being an officer responsible for so many other tasks, and allows them to focus on the investigative portion and leave the rest to sworn officers. Then, of course, there are factors of civilian CSI that improve the qualifications of the career. By hiring civilians passionate about the field of forensic science, it's more likely they'll have gone through some sort of education relating to it. Police officers generally do not have that education in the field, making those that do more qualified for that work. Hiring civilian CSI allows police to do what they're trained for rather than what they aren't. As crime scene investigations and forensics grow more and more scientific, it becomes harder for police to keep up with advancements in technology and scientific concepts. Civilian CSI, who, as I said, are more likely to be educated in the field, are able to focus on forensics and work to keep up with it better than police can among their laundry list of responsibilities. Having a CSI specialized in forensics means a department can specialize their training as well. Some departments have created specialized CSI academies, where new hires can be trained in the skills required for the job, like evidence collection and preservation, forensics photography, and report writing, accompanied by training in some aspects of police work they will use as well. This allows CSI to be trained in what they actually need in that career, instead of a full-blown police academy that doesn't cover much of those skills. This specialization and improved training helps boost the success of investigations. An entire investigation of any crime depends heavily on the efficiency of CSI. Currently, case clearance rates have decreased over the years. Homicide, the crime with the highest clearance rate, had a clearance rate of 71% in 1980, but that has dropped to about 50% in 2023. By encouraging qualified civilian employment, investigations may be improved and more victims given justice. However, that depends on civilian applicants having those qualifications. As with anything, there are downsides to civilian CSI units. One of those downsides is that, as beneficial as hiring qualified and passionate investigators is, not every applicant has that prior knowledge and experience. A 2022 study found that while 73% of CSI participants in the study had college degrees, that leaves 27% without the prior experience I just explained the benefits of. At that point, there isn't much difference between their efficiency compared to a police officer called to the scene. Speaking of, another downside of civilian CSI is that they aren't sworn officers. Like I said earlier, civilian CSI aren't capable of arrest or carrying a firearm, leaving them unable to detain a suspect and less equipped to defend themselves or others. While civilian CSI are equipped with mace, a bulletproof vest, and an ASP, they're less equipped than an officer would be in their place, leaving them more vulnerable. So after all that, you might be thinking, wow, that sounds sick. I bet I could do that. If you're generally interested, absolutely go for it. I am, or at least I'm aiming for that field. So if that's something you want to add to your list of potential future careers, here's some stuff to consider. Now, obviously the hiring process is going to be different for any area, department, county, state, whatever you're looking to apply to. So I'm just going to go over some recommendations I found in my search that'll boost your application and help you in the career. First is education. Like pretty much any job, a degree in a related subject will help you appear more qualified to those reviewing your resume. Getting a degree in specific fields like forensic science or criminal justice, or broader but still applicable degrees like biology or chemistry, can help you both understand and build the skills needed for the career while also improving your qualification. Next is certification. While it's not required to apply, you'll likely be given extra training after being hired, like I mentioned earlier. It can help show the hiring team that your skills have been tested. The International Association for Identification offers a certification, for example, that you can go for after your degree. Next is experience, which again you may get after hiring through working under a certified CSI for a while. But there are job options for working your way there to help build experience earlier. Working in a lab as a technician can give you skills in evidence preservation and documentation, or working in law enforcement can help you understand the legal and procedural aspects. If you wind up enjoying law enforcement, you can use that as a route to CSI career. But if you don't, you can move to a civilian role. Overall, crime scene investigation is a super interesting topic with a lot of intricate details, and civilian crime scene investigators open up a world of opportunity for people hoping to solve crime through science. They bring an array of benefits to departments and communities alike, allowing law enforcement to focus on the enforcing and allowing investigations to have a higher chance of bringing justice to those waiting for it. Thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and I plan to make more video essays like this in the future as I keep learning, so keep an eye out for those. All my sources are citing on the slides throughout the video, which is linked in the description, along with a document with them all linked. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.